Hi everyone, my name is Joe Barnard. Today we're going to be looking at the mobile application that controls the Signal flight computer. This is Signal R2 right here. It's available for sale now. There's a link in the description. We're going to be looking at the iOS side of things. We've got an iPhone 6s here. It will be available for Android as well, but the development is a little bit behind schedule. So we're going to look at the iOS side first. To get started, we'll go ahead and open up the Signal application here. It says select your flight computer, and we'll turn the Signal flight computer on. It's going to go through a little startup procedure here. It's just running some checkouts on sensors and a few other things. And now we're in the pad idle mode. So this is what the computer would be doing right before launch. I'll click refresh, and there's our computer. It says Signal, so we'll click on Signal, and we'll go into the Diagnostics page first. So you can see these are live sensor readouts. I actually put up a video about a month or two ago showing a really early version of this page, but these are, I think it's like 10 hertz or something, but live sensor readouts on this page. We've got our gyroscopes, our accelerometers, we've got our ambient temperature, our pressure, the temperature inside of the inertial measurement unit, and our whole system voltage. This is actually running on a little 11.1 volt LiPo, and so you can see it strapped to the back of the computer there. All right, well let's leave the diagnostics page. We'll go into system preferences for a second. A couple of these pages need work. It's important to note this is not the final iteration of the iOS app. This is just sort of a version that works right now. All right, so before we move on, I'm going to turn the buzzer off because it's getting a little annoying. All right, there we go. We'll go back into Pyro Control here, and you can see we've got a bunch of information about what our Pyro channels are doing and what they're set up for. So you can see Pyro 1 is configured for 20 meters to deploy above ground. And there's actually nothing connected to Pyro Channel 1. That's the channel right here. And if there was something connected, I'll go ahead and bridge these leads with my finger. There we go. So see it says cont, that's continuity or disconnected. Those two things correlate to continuity and disconnected. They are available for each Pyro channel to see if something is connected. And that's going to be really important for making sure that your charges for any Pyro events are all connected up to your rocket. Okay, so let's change Pyro 2 to, let's say, like 40 meters above ground. Here we go, 40. And, okay, so Signal made a little beep, the light turned blue, and you can see it says 40 meters here. And here's something important to note. The computer is actually reading out the value that was configured into it. This is a little bit hard to describe, but I'll demonstrate it here. If we were to turn off the computer, we'll turn it off here, and then try to reconfigure a value, let's say 30 meters now. Now, nothing shows up in that panel because there's an error, right? The computer has not received the value and it hasn't sent it back to the application. So this is sort of a verification process. It's like a self-check, because if you're configuring your computer and you want to have the parachutes deploy at a certain altitude, it's really important that you know you have accurately configured it into the computer. Anyway, my words aside, let's go ahead and back out of the app. I'm gonna hit refresh a couple of times, boot up the computer again, and we'll move on. Okay, so we're back where we started. We've got another Signal listed here in our flight computers. We'll click it. Let's move to Pyro Control one more time. You can see we've got some flight abort stuff, but let's say we want to test our Pyros. Let's say at this point, we've got something connected to one of these channels. We'll go to Pyro Testing, and we get a warning here. It says, caution, pressing any of the fire buttons will immediately activate that channel. Please use extreme caution here. So this is important. I understand. And if we click any one of these fire buttons, it's going to fire that channel. This is for ground testing your ejection systems, especially on larger rockets. This is important. It's good to do ground tests to make sure your ejection system actually works. So, you know, it's safe to do this because nothing's connected, but traditionally you'd want to be outside and a little further away. Right, but anyway, we can trigger each one of these channels to test them. We'll go back out of this into thrust vectoring. You can see we've got our P, I, and D values for each axis. This is how sensitive the thrust vectoring mount is. Let's go ahead and make it something interesting here. Let's change the D value to nothing, 0. Okay, so it's configured. We're gonna match our axes here, so the X and Y axis both match. Okay, cool, you can see the values changed, and let's make P, let's make it 0.2. Oh, sorry, 0.2, there we go. And we'll match it again. Okay, cool. So these are all, like the Pyro channels, these are all live readouts that are on the application that are actually showing what's going on with the computer. We can confirm this. We just changed our control to entirely proportional, so there's no derivative. That's the D in the PID. If I launch the rocket here, you can see it's totally proportional. Even if I go fast, there's no sort of advanced correction happening with that derivative value. So I'll go ahead and simulate burnout. And then it's going to detect apogee, or really it's going to detect that we are no longer going up. And it's going to log all this data into the SD card, put it in a CSV file, clear the flash on the chip, and then we're ready to go again. Okay, there we go. We're going to go ahead and reboot the computer now. There it is. Okay, so we're back in the application. We're going to hit Signal, we're going to go into System Prefs, turn off that buzzer, back into thrust vectoring, and let's demonstrate the TBC servo alignment. So this is something that happens whenever you're using a new or different thrust vectoring mount, and basically we're just trying to find where exact center is. Usually you would do this with a longer tube extending from the rocket, but for now I'm just going to show that it works. So here's the x-axis. You can see that as I hit the plus sign, we keep moving the thrust vectoring mount little by little. This is changing the center point of the TBC mount. Now you can see this is no longer very straight. This is not a good alignment. So we'll go back down to 90 here. And every time I click this, it's sending and configuring a new value into the flight computer. So we're back at 90. Just show you, we've got some advanced settings here like the TBC PID limit, the gear ratio. This is really helpful stuff if you're building your own TBC mount. And of course, that stuff is complicated, so we've got a button for defaults as well. Moving on, we've got our system prefs pane once again. This is where course correction lives, how sensitive launch detection is. These might get moved around the app a little bit. System prefs aren't really the system prefs pane isn't really a great place for these to go. Okay, so we're back at the home page again. We've got one more pane. We've got our tuning pane right here. So this is the rocket tuner. Now, if you ordered Signal Alpha or you own Signal Alpha, this is the previous revision of these Signal Avionics flight computers. This is the whole process that had to do with emailing me the times and sensitivities that your rocket would swing around. So now you can take care of that. You don't have to rely on me to do this for you. So we could put in the mass for our rocket as 1 kilogram. The length is maybe 1 meter. The string distance is maybe 0.5 meters or something. The translation time is 0.5. You go through all of these, and if you don't put them all in, it's going to give you an error. But anyway, this is the rocket tuner. This is still sort of in work. If you need help, you can go to this pane. Ooh. Yep. Okay. Well, you can't go there yet. So anyway, this is the Signal application. I hope you like it. If you can think of anything that you would do differently or that you would change, let me know in the comments. There's a lot more that I want to add to this, but this is where it is right now, and this is a great way to get the Signal R2 system off the ground. And once again, speaking of which, we've got a bunch of these in production that are ready to ship out late this month. If you haven't ordered yours yet, you can go to the link in the description. I am super excited to get these in other people's hands and get people flying with TBC. Anyway, I'm Joe Barnard. Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.